Hey guys, this is Devlin Macabre, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hi, this is Jimmy from Jimmy's World Order, JWO, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is Izzy James, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, everything in between. Every Saturday, interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, the only audio experience on the web today, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J, alongside Scooter Dust.
This is a reminder. Don't go full Johnny Depp. Don't go full Amber Heard. Just be full you, and you'll be fine. And you'll have an unsoiled bed at the end of the day still.
And it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with GutterSnake, Izzy James.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Don't worry, Scooter. I made sure my bed was clean before I left.
Woo!
That's one question off the checklist. How are you, man?
Yep.
I am good. I am at the end of a semester in college right now, so finals week is in 2 weeks, and once that's over with, I will be smooth sailings and in even better spirits.
Sweet.
I remember those days.
And
Yeah.
the best of spirits is when we're in the ring. When's the next time you'll be in the ring? What you got coming up next?
The next time I will actually be in the ring is May 7th. I will be at Martinez Promotion in Burleson, Texas. I will be teaming with Mark Davidson as part of Team USA against Crazy Boy and Ares, the King of Strange, as Team Mexico. It's like my second lucha show. I've been working with Loco Wrestling a lot lately, and over WrestleMania weekend, I had a few lucha matches, so I'm starting to break into some of that. After that, I will actually be at Reality of Wrestling May 14th in Houston, Texas. And then after that, I will be at another lucha show, but it will be in Colombia, South America. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That one's gonna be a fun trip.
Pagoda?
Yeah, Pagoda. Yep.
Is this your first
Nice.
excursion out of the United States?
It is not. The first time I was actually out of the United States was 2018 in London. I was wrestling for British Championship Wrestling, I believe it was called, BCW. No, British Empire Wrestling, BEW. And they're no longer, well, no, I think they just reopened back up after all the COVID stuff, but they're under different management at this point. But I worked out there for 2018. It was around Christmas time, and that was a really fun trip. I really enjoyed London, and I can't wait to go back.
And of course, where can we find you on social media and your merchandise? Everything Izzy James.
So everything Izzy James that you can find me on YouTube. Just type in Izzy James and you will find my YouTube channel right away. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, all of those. You just type in @ everything's an @ now, at Izzy James _PW. That is for Twitter and for Instagram. And then you can find my merchandise. You can actually find that on Pro Wrestling Tees. Type in Izzy James, you'll find that. And then if you actually go to teespring.com, you can find another online website where you can buy more merchandise of my own designs. It's teespring.com. You can look up Izzy James and you'll find everything you'll ever want. You can find socks, you can find hoodies, you can find stuff for your baby, stuff for your dog, a whole bunch of stuff.
And you don't even have to go looking for it. All those links will be in the description of the video below, both on Twitter, both on YouTube and Castbox. So simply just click the link and you will be there.
Okay. And you never have to leave the house. It comes straight to your door.
I think we all learned something about that during the pandemic. Scooter.
Yeah, right.
Hell, I was doing that before the pandemic. Come on. Yes. Okay. Let's kick this off with some levity. Tell us the story of your lip tattoo.
My lip tattoo. I'm surprised you know that there's a lip tattoo. Not many people know that there's a lip tattoo.
We do.
So there's a. I have a. Yeah. So I have a tattoo on the bottom lip. My bottom lip. It's It says music. So I believe I was 19 years old, and I used to get tattoos from this guy that ran out of his garage as grungy street urchin, street rat, as that sounds. That's what I did. I went and got my tattoos out of a garage. So I got a tattoo of music, the word music on my lip, and I was told when I was younger, because of the saliva in your mouth, it'll eat away at the ink and it'll go away in like 2 years. And I'm going to date myself. I didn't have the opportunity to Google that information back when I got this tattoo. So I ended up getting the tattoo, and it's still there to this day. Didn't dissolve from all the saliva in my mouth. No, that's not a thing, kids. I'm here to tell you. Part of it has been scratched off and stuff from scars, but no, yeah.
Okay, in full disclosure, I have to admit that when doing the research, I thought the hole you bit through your lip was the tattoo, and it had said no.
No, the word is music, but that is partly the reason why it no longer, like, the S is like distorted now.
But I really threw for the wall and hope it stuck. Wow.
Wow, that's like the first time I've ever been asked that. That's a good question. Good question.
We pride ourselves on that. James,
can you tell us about the transformation from Gregory James to Izzy James?
That is a long, winding, bumpy road.
You got time.
So I started wrestling 12. Yeah, so I started wrestling 12 years ago, and I started in a backyard with a group of guys. And when it came time to decide wrestling names, I had played wrestling games all my life, and I had always, had different names for characters, and I had Just Insane, Iris. I had all these different crazy names, and at this point, I think I forget which video game it was, but I was playing it, and I had named the character Greogry James, and so I decided that was going to be my ring name when it came time to decide my fate on that fateful day. So I did that, and I was previously, before I was in the wrestling industry, I was a frontman in a heavy metal band called Destroyer Skate. And so I just kind of played off of that as my wrestling character. So I was in the backyard wrestling in the early days of MPX wrestling. I was Headbanger Gregory James, which morphed into Too Much Metal Gregory James whenever I started to travel outside of my school and started actually wrestling on the independent scene. And then somewhere along the line, one of my original trainers, Carrion Arcane, he was retiring from wrestling and needed some, he wanted me to take over his dark faction at the time. And so I said, yeah, I'll do it. And that's when I created the whole Unholy character based on my favorite Kiss song, which is Unholy. It's from their, I believe, their late 80s non-painted phase or mid 80s non-painted phase. It's one of the heavier tracks, and it's one of my favorite songs that they do, a rare one. But I created that character based off of that song and became like the dark, I guess, Malachi Black or Undertaker or whatever you want to call it, the dark cult leader of this of Texas for a while. And then I was doing that for a long, long time, like years, traveling up and down the road. I went to London as Unholy Gregory James. And then I started working for Booker T in late 2018, actually right like the weekend after I came back from London. I started working for Booker, and then he named me Isaiah as part of this group, the Legion, which is like a long-running faction that they've had, their dark cult that they've had at Reality of Wrestling. I just never was a part of it until now. And so he named me Isaiah, and I was going with that for a few months as both Gregory James on the Independents, but Isaiah at Reality of Wrestling. And so one day I was speaking with Kevin and Booker about the name, and I decided that I was going to just drop Gregory and just go by Isaiah James on the independent scene to kind of like have continuity across the board, because a lot of the people that know me know me through Reality of Wrestling because there's such a broad fan base, and now we're getting more television, more markets. We're constantly getting more and more visibility as things go, and I believe Booker's got like an ESPN deal that he's working on, so we're constantly growing, and that's how I became Isaiah James. And then COVID happened. And so COVID was really like the real chance that I had to stop doing the cult leader thing finally. There was a few other guys that had started to come up in the Texas area that were starting to do their own cults. And I was looking at that and going, you know what, these guys are doing it now. I've done this. Let me just go and do something else. It's time. This is the perfect time to do it. And so, excuse me. And so that's when I just created Izzy James. I was like, what would I call myself if I was to just go back to my punk rock roots from when I was a kid? So I was like, you know, I've always been a huge music fan, so I'm like Ozzy, Iggy Pop, and I just created Izzy James. And it's probably the most natural version of myself that I've ever put out in the ring, if I'm honest. And it's my favorite part. It's my favorite part of my career so far.
So this is kind of like your American badass phase, so to speak.
I guess you could say it's my American badass phase. Yeah, we'll see if the Unholy thing comes back one day. But as long as there's a Malachi Black on television, I won't do that.
Was it just kind of, you know, I've done this for so long, the Unholy gimmick, and, you know, it was great, but, you know, maybe it's time for a change? Was it just kind of something that happened sudden, or was it something that kind of accumulated over the years?
I feel like the last 2 years that I was the Unholy character, I was really kind of like contemplating what I would do post that character if I was to change from that character, because I started to notice that there was a trend of goth characters and goth wrestlers, or just people from the, like, if you would call it the goth community, expressing themselves in the wrestling world. And so I was just like, they have a better look. They have, like, it's new to them and it's not new to me. So therefore, like, I don't feel as motivated, And so whenever I changed the character and I had that initial response to the change of the character, it totally revamped everything for me, and it was a refresher for sure.
All right. Scooter, you have a question.
Now, I want to build a little bit more on your time as a musician. I have a question here that I'm not sure if it's going to get a yes or a no, but I have a backup question just in case. Now, the
Okay.
name Schecter is fresh in my mind, not just because of the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
but because the name was dropped at the end of a series of videos for the album The Silver Scream, done by cult metalcore band Ice Nine Kills. Do you happen to be familiar with them, given that they are fans of wrestling and horror movies like you?
I've heard a few tracks of Ice Nine Kills that I really enjoy. I haven't, like, dove a lot into listening to them. What I do know is that, like, I have a Spotify list that whenever it's like new metal tracks, or it's like new hardcore, so it's one of those, and I will put that on, like, randomize whenever I'm at the gym or I'm driving, and I know I've heard at least two of their songs that I'm really that I really dug. I really want to, now that you've mentioned them, I'm going to go back and start listening to some more of their stuff. You said they're wrestling fans?
Yeah. Yes, they are wrestling fans, and I'll explain why. But first, you have to watch their videos in order of the Silver Screen, because they are literally all based on horror movies. They tell a cohesive story with each song, and they just released their second album, Welcome to Horrorwood, which is cameoed, which not cameoed, but stars Bill Moseley and someone who I'm wondering if people tell you look like, from Dead Meat, James A. Janice. I'm going to take that as a no.
No, I've never heard that one.
So,
what's the name? James what? James what?
James A. Janice. He's James A. Janice. He hosts he runs a channel on YouTube called Dead Meat. In fact, he's doing his own series of podcasts this month with stars of AEW. So tell us
I've not heard this person's name before. No.
Oh wow! Oh boy, you're gonna be in for it's once you get a taste. I mean, you get hooked in that. All right, so tell us about your Schecter guitar. Do you have others? Is that your first that we've seen, that you have a pic of on Instagram, or is it just the one that has the most meaning to you?
So that is my only electric guitar that I have. It's not my first one. I believe my first one was, I was given my first electric guitar when I was 7. It was a Ibanez. It was my dad who bought it, and I really didn't take to it right away, which is surprising, I know. It wasn't until I was, I want to say, 11 that I picked up a bass guitar. I think it was a Fender Stu Ham edition. I can't remember the style,
Ooh.
but I know the musician was Stu Ham, and it was based on it was his branding. I'm sorry.
Given it's a Fender, I'm going to assume the style is possibly Stratocaster, but there were a number of other styles that Fender had. Please continue.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know it was a bass. It was a shiny light green. Anyways, I picked it up and just like immediately took to bass for a while, and so I started playing bass in punk bands, like almost like from the time I was 15 till I was 17, 18 years old. I was playing in punk bands as a bass player and a singer, and then I got into the heavy metal scene after that. Along the line, though, I ended up getting like acoustic guitars from my dad. I would play them. I still play guitar, but I was like mostly a bass player. And then I want to say I was 20, and I went to a pawn shop, and there was maybe I was 19. I was one of those ages, and I went to a pawn shop in my hometown, and there was this Schecter just on the wall, and I was a really big fan of the Schecter body style and the bands that I was into, like Under Oath and Miss May I and Senses Fail and other bands like that. They were like a lot of the bands were playing Schecters. I remember the band The Bled. They had a white Tempest Schecter, and that was like my favorite guitar. And I still would eventually like to have that one. But when I saw this Schecter in the pawn shop, I was like, "Oh, it's coming home. I have to take that one. I have to buy it right away." And so I bought it, and I've had it ever since. That was 15 years ago.
Wow.
Well, I'm still playing the the Yamaha I got for my 14th birthday, which was 24 years ago.
Yeah.
The Stu Ham edition was the Fender Urge, and they are, from what I can tell, they are not really available anymore. So that is
yeah.
But now we're big music fans, and
It's a very rare bass to find, I
more.
guess. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, James, over to
I'm
you.
looking at pictures of it right now.
Can you tell us about the Good Housekeeping death match you had with Insidious Sid Mars?
The Good Housekeeping Death Match. Wow. So that was fun. that was a lot of fun to put together. We had a lot of cool ideas. We had a like a shop vac where I shop vac Sid's hair up. That was provided by Sid's father. And then we had a box of cat litter.
Yes.
And a lot of people have asked me if it was real cat litter. It was not real cat litter. It was
Where did you get
I believe it was
cat
brown
litter?
sugar. I mean, it was brown sugar and candy pieces that we made to look like poop, and so, we had a lot of fun putting that one together. I'll say this. Yeah, I'll say this. Like, I've taken weapon shots from a lot of different people, but no one's hit me with a plunger quite like Sid Mars has hit me with a plunger. And then one of my favorite parts of that match is actually the fact that Sid Mars gave me the skewers to the top of the head. So that was. I've got a lot of tattoos, so that was a familiar feeling. Lots of needles going into my head all at once.
The one part that really interested
me... given the choice between brown sugar and candy pieces.
I'm sorry?
Scooter?
I'll just given the choice between brown sugar and candy pieces, I think I actually, if that was me, I would have preferred kitty litter. Quite honestly. Jeez, James.
Well, if James, you had a question?
Yeah. I was. You were continuing. I just didn't want to cut you off. Uh,
Well, what I was gonna say was we actually filmed a promo during during COVID when we were stuck inside, where we had a house fight and we filmed a cinematic match basically, and so we did a thing where she tripped me in that video into kitty litter, and I was supposed to come up, and the next shot on the video was going to be me spitting out kitty litter, and so I actually put the kitty litter in my mouth for that. And let me say that the clumping litter, any kind of moisture like saliva
Absorbent?
will make it clump. So I'm just trying to spit out. Yeah, so trying to spit out clumping litter for this video was pretty hard to actually get it out of my mouth and not swallow any of it. That was another task in of itself. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's when you use brown sugar.
That's why this is probably why we chose the brown sugar.
it just looks better aesthetically. So the one thing that
This is true.
The one thing that I was interested watching the match was that you pulled out the razor, and I was like, oh my god, what's he gonna do with it? And then you saved her armpit, and I was just thinking, is he trying to tell her something that he couldn't vocally explain to her?
Yeah, that was a little nod to Sid's all natural. You know, she's she doesn't mind growing out her arm hair, so I was like, you know what, for the trouble, I'm gonna shave this off and I'm gonna make it just do one. And you're gonna be uneven on both sides.
There was repercussions that still last to this day because of that match. But that being said, what are the advantages and disadvantages of wrestling your significant other?
The advantages and disadvantages. Advantages. I have a lot of fun wrestling my significant other, my wife. I get to teach. I get to teach her as I go because, I've been doing this for 12 years. She's only been doing it for a little while, and I get to teach her as I go, and I get to watch her learn, as we do this, in the midst of it. And so that's really rewarding, especially when I see it click for her, and it goes really well. We did a match a couple weeks ago, actually, where we did a 5-minute match, just on this really small pop-up show that was around here in Houston, and it was I think 4.5 minutes total, but we told a really good story as far as the character work and trying to get the crowd involved, and so that was a lot of fun. Other advantages is I don't mind getting hit, and she doesn't mind hitting me, so she definitely lays it in. That's an advantage.
Just do the laundry, damn
So when it comes to realism, you'll definitely get that when it comes to Sid versus Izzy. Disadvantages, Yeah, just do the damn laundry. You won't have to wrestle anymore.
He doesn't when you sleep on the couch.
Advantages I feel situational. Small crowds. We had a small crowd issue, or we've had like injuries happen at another disadvantage is I'm always worried about like really hurting her.
Right.
Because I'm bigger than she is by a lot of pounds. So when it comes to like landing on her or hitting a move or a move going in correctly, that's always in the back of my mind, and that's always my main concern. But when it comes to going out there and 100%, like going 100% for the audience and for the show, it doesn't stop me, but it's still, in the back of my mind.
All right. Scooter, you have a question.
Now, you being a wrestler, is something not a unless you're almost a legacy in the business that your parents won't exactly like their kids doing. I know my parents hated the fact that I wrestled, but you're given that we're so close to Mother's Day. Your mother, from all not only a great parent, but a huge influence in terms of wrestling. And there is a picture of her with Kerry Von Erich. Can you please tell us the story of that? And would you say that your mother was possibly a bigger fan of wrestling than you are?
Yeah, I think my mom would actually probably be a bigger wrestling fan than I am. I became a pro wrestler, and once you learn the seedy sides of the business, it kind of sours your love for it a little bit, but it's still there. It's still full hearted.
Very true.
My mom was the biggest wrestling fan. Like she loved it. I know. From what I'm told, my mom was still going to the sportatorium events during the weekends whenever she was still pregnant with me. And from a young age, I was going to those events with her. That photo that you actually you talked about, her with Kerry Von Erich, she's holding me in that photo. She has photos of me with Jeff Jarrett, the Freebirds, Coco Beware. Some of those I think were stolen early in my, like, we had a storage unit and someone broke into it and they stole a whole bunch of stuff. I think some of those photos got stolen or have been missing for a while, but I have the one. I know I have the one of me and Jeff Jarrett and her, and the one of me and Carrie, and the one of me and Coco Beware. So I was exposed to the professional wrestling art form very early. If I wasn't watching cartoons, which were Ninja Turtles or Captain, basically. If I wasn't watching cartoons, I was watching pro wrestling. I remember as a kid growing up, we had a big giant box of VHS tapes that had Pee Wee Herman, had some Looney Tune cartoons, and we had AWA on VHS, just a huge box. And I would just recycle through all those videotapes all the time. So growing up, I believe it was 4, maybe I was 4. My grandmother and my mom were driving to go to Dallas, I think, to go shopping for something. I don't remember, but I remember we were driving, and I was in the middle of the car, and I was looking out the window, and I saw it's going everywhere, and I told my mom I wanted to go watch the wrestling show, and so she just stopped. She exited right there, and instead of going shopping, they took me to see the wrestling show, and I remember that night I walked into the place with the hump. I can see lights with the smoke flickering through the lights, and looking down into the ring, and there's Jeff Jarrett cutting a promo in the middle of the ring. And that's like one of my first memories of my life, and it's such a like I love that memory so much. And then I got to go to come to town, but my mom would always take me to like see the sportatorium stuff, or she took me to what was called PCW around in Arlington, Texas. It ran for I don't even know how long, but it was like and had me introduced to it at 14, 15 years old. And whenever I decided I was going to get into the wrestling business, like you said, most parents would tell you, oh, don't do that shit. Don't get into that. It's fake or all this and that. And don't want you to get hurt. My mom, like, as much as she didn't want me to get hurt, she was so excited to see me wrestling. And once she got over the scares of getting hurt, my mom was at every show. She would drive to different states. She would drive to every single show she could to be there. The day, and that's the last time I'll ever see her.
So sorry for your loss. And thank you.
Truly sounds like a remarkable.
Yeah, and absolutely, and thank you for
my mom was awesome, man. She was the life of the party, unlike me.
Well,
oh yeah, I love sharing the stories of my mom, because my mom was one of a kind. She wasn't like many moms.
That's awesome. Let's get into something else. Let's go on to the home promos. You spoke about the one again with Sid, where you had a match. There was also the one that led to the death match with the you not doing the laundry. There was a couple of you with Shawn Hendricks as well. Could you tell us about those essentially small videos of you just promoting matches, essentially?
So those, like the ones that I was doing during COVID, is that what the ones you're referring to?
Yeah. There's one with you and Hendricks. You're playing chess. And
yeah, the ones I was doing. Oh yeah, that one where we're playing chess. So during the COVID time, that was really fun, and we lived in like a small studio apartment. So doing those, we had a very small workspace to utilize, and I feel like we utilized it well. But we were also the studio that we were living in was like 100-year-old building built in 1920, and so it had this basement that I had access to down there and film really creepy stuff. And I know that we drew it on the wall a bunch of times and drew like eyes everywhere. the maintenance person that goes down there is going to be really extremely creeped out when they see all those things. But the one that I did with Sean Hendricks, where we were sitting and I believe it was playing chess.
Yes.
No, we weren't playing chess. We were playing checkers because I don't know how to play checkers. I don't know how to play chess. So I'll play checkers. I'm fine. I with Sean. We have a very hard time not laughing at each other. So when it comes time for us to when we would do Legion promos for Booker T, they would always want us to do very serious and very dark and very emo goth, whatever you want to call it, and that was fun when we were doing that. But eventually, Sean and I, we would just do our own thing, or we would throw a comedic spin on it. I don't know. We would just do it, and we would just turn it in, and they started accepting it. And so when it came time to record that match for what was it? It was TWL. It was Texas Wrestling League. I was supposed to wrestle somebody else, and they had to cancel. Oh, they got hurt. I was supposed to wrestle, I believe it was Alexander Crowley, and he broke his collarbone. And so the last second, I had to find an opponent. And so Sean's one of my best friends, and I love the guy to death. And like I said, it's just we could look at each other and just start crying. We're laughing so hard. I called him up and I was like, "Hey, are you available for this day?" And he said yes. And so I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, "What could we do to make a promo out of this to kind of promote it?" And that's what we came up with, was us sweating over this checkers match and him assuming that I cheated when he was the one who cheated, but he still lost. And so it was really fun. I look forward to doing the next one. There was one that we did with Ryan Davidson too, where he was supposed to show up at the House of Legion and got lost, and we built we made an entire fake fort in my second we made a fort for Legion in the second bedroom, and so that was really fun to do too.
Whose idea was it to draw red velvet cupcakes at Sid for preparation for her match?
So I believe the red velvet cupcake batting was Sid's idea. Amazingly enough, Sid has actually come up with a lot of the promo ideas that even I use for my own stuff as Izzy. She's super creative, and so she was wrestling Red Velvet.
Right.
I believe it was in Minnesota, and the at the time, Insidious didn't talk.
Yeah.
She was a masked character, but she didn't have a voice. The story behind Insidious is that she was a mute, a slave, or a devout follower of the unholy Gregory James, so on and so forth, with the whole cult leader stuff. And so she didn't speak. And so we had to find a way to have her speak with her body language, with her eyes. And so we were like, "You're wrestling Red Velvet. Let's throw." She was like, "I remember she was like, "I want to beat up a red velvet cake. I want to beat the shit out of it with my hands and make that the promo." And so we just kind of elaborated on that and started doing red velvet cupcake batting. And I believe the fencing of that apartment complex still has some red velvet rotting on its cage, grating on the fence out there still to this day.
Are we gonna see those promos return in the future? Because they kind of just stopped.
So when my mom passed away, a lot of things kind of changed in my life,
Right.
and so that's been a lot of stress going on right there. But I'm also in school, so um, as a full-time student, full-time professional wrestler, my schedule's a little bit busy. But you will see more promos in the future. Uh, just been dealing with some of those life stressors at the moment and coming back from that.
All right. And Scooter, you have a question.
Now, there is one match, according to your list of matches on Cage Match, that sticks out to me, and it's simply because of the name of your opponent. And I want to
Okay.
know how many times have people brought up that, or how many times you are asked about the time that you beat the Great Depression.
Oh, you are the first person to ever ask me about the time I beat the Great Depression. Man, that the early days of Inspire Pro Wrestling. That character is the brainchild of the owners of Inspire Pro Wrestling. And it's a fun character, I believe, in my heart. That is a very fun character to have. Um, I don't remember how I beat him. I think I was a cult leader of Legion at Inspire Pro. By the way, I've been involved in like 3 different legions. Neither of them have ever connected to the other. Um, but yeah, I was involved at Legion and Inspire Pro Wrestling, and I don't remember how I did it, but I somehow, through my mystical cult leader ways, beat the Great Depression along with the rest of America in the late 1920s.
Oh, 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 oh man! Now,
That's
now the real question:
absolutely.
Was the Great Depression really? Was the Great Depression really that great?
Well, it only lasted for a little while apparently, so we apparently we got through it.
You
You'll
you
be in the history
recently
books.
you
Yeah.
recently wrestled Kevin Blackwood, who's pretty big on the independents right now. Can you tell us about that match and the experience?
So Kevin Blackwood is from New York City, or Buffalo, New York,
Yeah.
and
Ah, boo.
he was he's definitely a different style of wrestler than I come across a lot down here in Texas. You get a lot more of the traditional TV wrestling around here, or super indie wrestling with a lot of the people, especially the younger guys. But you don't get a lot of the people that are really into like old school, like 2004, 2005, 2006 Ring of Honor, the Davey Richards Ring of Honor, the Eddie Edwards Ring of Honor, where it was all about the pure wrestling and the heavy striking and the strong style. And it was really when pro wrestling was, I feel like the independent wrestling community here in America was really learning what strong style was through those guys, because we were also now having the connection through the internet of being able to watch New Japan and all these other things like Noah and DDT and all these other places. And so Kevin Blackwood is more, he's more laser focused on that type of style. And so that was fun to be able to work with somebody that doesn't do what everybody's doing down here, doesn't have the same way of looking at things as as I do, or the way a lot of the guys that I have wrestled or grew up around look at things. And so I always like a new challenge, like going new places, like working with new people. And so that was a fun match to have. And by the way, that guy loves animals. There was a stray dog in the alleyway on the way to the show, and he did not stop. He didn't run away from it. He stopped to pet it, and I was like, okay, like that's a stray ass dog. Like, okay. You don't know if it's that age, bro.
All right, and that was a pretty cool story as well. Scooter, you have a question.
Tell us about George, because George, no joke, looks exactly like my fur baby Lee, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but right down to the little tuft of white under the chin, right below the neck. So tell us about George.
George is I believe he is 7 years old now. Bombay, and he is actually walking up to me right now. He is pretty much like a dog. And he is actually the spitting image of my childhood cat, Minnie, who was the spitting image of my mom's cat, Sam. So like it's been like a running thing in my life that I've had black cats, and at least 3 of them have been identical. And I actually have 3 black cats in my household right now, along with 1 calico, to combine our Brady Bunch of cats. We have 4. They are George, the animal, Steal Your Girl. They're all named after pro wrestlers. Then we have his brother, Sean Meowkles. But George,
yes.
George is a Sean Meowkles is a smooth operator, but George is a scamp. Like I said, he's a dog. He has this toy that I'm actually playing with him right now. It's a stick with bird feathers, and he will drag that thing across the apartment and come and set it at my feet. Or we have little rats, little toy rats, and we'll throw it across the apartment. He'll run after it and chase it and bring it back and set it down, and he'll play fetch with you. And yeah, my best friend. He goes everywhere with me.
Awesome.
Oh, God, I love that.
Minus wrestling shows. I'm not like Teddy Hart. Fuck that guy.
Now, I'm not exactly sure how to phrase this, but coleslaw got you put in Facebook jail.
Yes, it did. That was quite amazing.
How is something
Of all the things, coleslaw set it off. How does something like that happen? So I believe somebody agreed with me that coleslaw was disgusting. And I said, I will find the man who invented slaw and kick him in the testicles. And that comment got me banned. That comment got reported or picked up or reported or whatever. And I got notified about it. And I took a screenshot of the notification. And since they deleted the comment where I said that, I just posted the screenshot of the comment and the notification of it getting deleted. And so that put me in Facebook jail. I was like, try to censor my ass.
The ancestor of who made coleslaw runs Facebook now. So, obviously, that was the reason.
Is that really?
No. but that's what we're going for. And
Well,
Wesley, we make shit up.
that would
Maybe
be
you
a
just haven't had
crazy
the right
turn of events.
coleslaw. Maybe you just haven't had the right
I will
coleslaw.
actually agree with you there, Scooter. I'll agree with you there, Scooter Dust. If you can prove to me
Gotta
that
be
there's
spicy.
a delicious coleslaw that's going to change, yes, give me a spicy coleslaw. I'm for it. I'll try it.
If I could figure out a way to get you some from the place I am thinking about here in New York City, then I will absolutely do it. If it changes your mind on coleslaw,
I'm game. Let's do this.
Another interesting thing I found out: you were offered a movie role. Is this correct?
So I'm in film and production in college right now. So there was a guy
that was
that
my
I
major.
was in a class with. Right on. Sorry.
No, continue.
There was a guy
Please
in
continue.
my. There was a guy in my one of my classes, and he's what is it? It's called TV and field production. Anyways, he was doing this project for like a show or like a mini movie that was going to come out on like Tubi and TikTok and Pluto and all these things. And I was offered a role in it, but as I was I was offered a role, but I was also offered the role of editor and screenwriter, and I was also told that there was going to be no pay or benefits, and that it would really just be like a foot in the door and possibly the chance of future stuff down the line. So after I spoke with my teacher, who was adamant about you don't do any of that kind of stuff, you don't your worth, and yes, you are a student, and as long as there was promises of benefits down the line, like you would get something, if that was the case, yeah, do it. But if that's not, like, if there's literally no promises of that, don't do it. Just don't lessen yourself. So I turned it down, and at the end of the day, that was the best decision, because I've actually been working on another movie for school, a little melodrama that we created, and I'm in the midst of actually finishing the edits on that this week and turning it in for class probably next week. So, and maybe I'll release it and show everybody else. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, I did the. I did the same thing when I was in high school. We happened to win a contest that got our film aired on Showtime, and to this day, it is the only IMDb credit that I have as a cinematographer for that film. So, having a degree
That's awesome.
in
Very cool.
media is absolutely worth it if you just if you're willing to put in the work, and you clearly are.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really enjoying it. I felt I was in the wrong path because I was looking at going down physical therapy, but that wasn't right for me. So this is definitely it for me. If wrestling doesn't work out, at least I have something to do in the pro wrestling business through production.
Right, and that's awesome. To to have that fallback that you're still in pro wrestling, even if you're not in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a love for behind the camera work. It's something that fascinated me when I was in high school as well. So I had a little bit of a background already in high school, but I'm definitely enjoying my classes.
All right. Scooter, you have a question. Don't forget the Burger King
Okay.
question.
Well, I think maybe I will Burger King your face, James. You we talked about this earlier. You are very much into metalcore. What?
Yeah.
Who would you recommend people listen to if they had just discovered metalcore and they were looking for recommendations?
Polaris. Polaris. Polaris is really good. I'm also a big fan of like Under Oath is a big fan is a one of my favorite bands of all time. Some people would say they're not metalcore, but their later stuff is definitely more that genre. Um, who else? Let me pull up my Spotify because I know I have a list of tons of metalcore bands that I listen to all freaking day. Beartooth is one of them. I love Beartooth. Bleed from Within. I really enjoy Motionless in White's got a new track, No Voices. That's really good. If you haven't heard that one pulled up on my Spotify the other day, and I had to recycle it like 3 times.
Well, I think that's a great segue into our next segment.
All right.
The
All
colossal
right.
question. They're making a movie about you, and every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on the Izzy James movie soundtrack up to this point, based off your wrestling career?
The first 3 songs, based on my wrestling career. Wow. Um, First 3. It's a tough question. That's just a tough question just to hit.
Yep. If you need some time, we can go through the list.
Gosh, you're making me think hard on this one. Oh man, man, I have no, I have no way to answer that right now.
Fair enough. We could maybe continue and if you
Well, the second one. Hang on. I don't know that. Hang on. I don't know the first. I think I can do this. Hang on. I don't know the first one just yet, but the second one is Unholy by Kiss because that's definitely the stage in my career that was pretty long, and that would be the middle part of the movie. The third one, the third one, I would have to go with my theme song currently, Zero by Vanna, because I'm a zero. And the first one, for the first one, I'm going to say Rock You Like a Hurricane, the Scorpions.
All right. That's 3 solid picks.
Nice.
Because I was so young and I was so like hyped and ready to be a pro wrestler, and yeah.
Do you like
getting hyped as a kid who loves rock and roll and grew up on the metal scene, That's the song.
Ah, I definitely dig it.
What's that?
Do you lock it in?
I lock it in. Lock that one in.
Alright, we're locked in. Alright. So you're Ricky Starks' barber?
Apparently, I'm Ricky Starks' barber. At least on the latest, one of the latest episodes of Rampage, I was.
How did that come about?
We did live down the road from each other in Austin for a little while. So, just that just so happens to be what you're told you're gonna do that day whenever you're hanging out, with the elite groups.
Alright.
They're like, hey, we need 3 guys to look like Ricky's got friends. So here I am playing Ricky Starks' barber, and I didn't know I was Ricky Starks' barber until after I watched it back.
Yeah.
Here, Ricky on.
Was that the weirdest extra you've been? What was that the weirdest extra work you've done so far?
That is not the weirdest extra work I've done. I think the weirdest extra work I've done is being a part of a Congo line with the whole No Way Jose. That's the weirdest stuff.
Alright. Let's get into
Because I can't dance.
Oh my god.
Let's
Yeah.
get into a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance? Hello? Back up. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I used to say no, but what I'll say is if you give me a barbecue sauce pizza with chicken and some onions and some pineapple and some cheese, I will eat that.
Interesting. What's your spirit Pokemon?
That's when I agree with pineapple on pizza. It's got to be Hawaiian barbecue
All
style.
right.
Sweet. And what's your spirit Pokemon?
I think Papa John's has it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
My spirit Pokemon. I don't feel like I necessarily have one. I never really got super into Pokemon. I was into the first 100 Pokemon when that was a thing. That's how old I am. So I remember when Mew and Mewtwo, the first 101
Yeah.
and 102 Pokemon coming out were a big deal. So So, yeah.
All right. Now, where does can you hear me?
Is there one that's like super sleepy? Because that would be me.
Oh,
That's me all the time. Yeah, I can hear
Yes,
you.
James.
yeah.
James, we can hear
Okay.
you, man.
Just not. I'm not sure because I kind of went out there for a little bit. All right.
James.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Weirdest question you'll ever be asked on a wrestling podcast. Would you ever consider wrestling a rap? Not Dwayne Johnson, Scooter?
He may have dropped. I don't know why he keeps asking if we can hear him when we can hear. That would be Snorlax. Yes.
Alright. On a serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
On a serious note, where do I see myself in 5 years? I would like to say working for AEW in some capacity, whether it be in ring or behind the camera. But some way, shape, or form, I will be working there.
Alright, sweet. And I would kick myself if I didn't ask you this. Have you seriously only ever seen the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie?
Yes. I have only seen that one, and I don't care to see any others.
But I mean, the second one with Tobey Maguire was really good.
I'm sure everybody says the same. I got to a point where I was just really tired of seeing Spider-Man everywhere, especially in the last couple of years with them releasing like a new movie every year. So I have only seen the one.
Alright, fair enough. Um, what is a match people should go out of their way to see? That best shows off what Izzy James is all about.
One of mine, or
Your match.
um, one of the best matches you could find. Yeah. Uh, I would say over WrestleMania weekend, there was a really good lucha match that I did, but that's not really like what it. There's a match between me and Bestia Seis. A match that I've done last year or so on it. I would say if you're looking for a match that is what Izzy James all about, Izzy James versus Mysterious Q from New Texas. I think is a really good match that people should definitely check out.
I believe that's on YouTube, correct?
It is. I believe it's either on my YouTube page or theirs, but it's on one of them.
Whoever it's on, I will find the match and I will put it in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, so people could go check it out after they watch this, if they haven't already.
Awesome. Awesome.
Alright, And since we're nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Ric Flair.
Worst wrestler.
Dmitry Alexandrov.
Ooh. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
CM Punk.
Ooh. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Ultimate Warrior.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Dead AF.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
We would have also accepted
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Vegetable, I believe.
It is a fruit. But you are now in good graces with Khalifa Yak, so that means a hell of a lot more.
It's a fruit? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I like squash, so whatever, either way.
It has seeds, and that's what makes it scientifically a fruit.
Huh. Okay.
New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring deal
Learn something new every day.
Yes. New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring deal gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Full coverage. I guess a little bit of butt cheek coming out isn't bad. Like Triple H, I feel like had the best trunks all the time. Randy Orton has the best trunks currently.
I believe
That's what I would say.
So full coverage.
Yeah, full coverage.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
I don't think so.
And that is the correct answer. Thank you.
Unless somebody. Okay.
That will conclude this interview.
That was an interesting last question.
Oh, that is the thing that yeah. Thank you for coming on.
just yes.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on and doing this with you. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. This was fun. Very cool questions.
And can you tell us once again where we can find you on social media and merchandise?
Wrestling with Entertainment, you can find Izzy James on YouTube. Just type in Izzy James. I don't know where all the videos are, but you'll find it. Instagram and Twitter is at Izzy James _ PW. Facebook, it's Izzy James. I have 2 pages. You'll find them if you just type in Izzy James. I'm not hard to find. I'm pretty recognizable because I have a pretty ugly mug. You can also buy this pretty ugly mug on a t-shirt or some socks or some hoodies from teespring.com. Type in Izzy James and more of my ugly face will be on some merchandise for you to buy. You can also buy more at prowrestlingtees.com/Izzy James.
And of course, all of those links will be in the description of the
The
video
end.
below, both on YouTube and Castbox. There's no need to type it in, throw it into your Google machine. Simply go in the description, click the link. You've been listening to him for just under an hour and a half. Buy a damn short or a pair of socks. And of course, if you'd like.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Oh, no, I was just saying buy a damn short.
We're wrapping it up, Izzy.
Oh. That was a plug. Yes.
A plug.
I ruined my own plug. Yeah, plug
Don't worry. The technical issues did more than enough.
But everything Izzy James. Subscribe, like. Of course.
Yes.
Of course, if you like what we're doing,
And yeah.
Please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this was sponsored by World Energy and Players on Coffee. Join us next Wednesday for an interview with Casey King. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestling with E. For news on upcoming interviews, when interviews drop, etc., etc. You can follow me at JamesJ993. You can follow Kalito at I Am Kalito. Of course, you can follow Scooter Dust on the remix, now on YouTube. Sidecast audio experience for all WWE special live events. Um, Join us for WrestleMania Backlash for all live alternative commentary, and of course at Scooter Dust. Now, Izzy, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment.
Okay.
For our special guest, Izzy James, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James Shane, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.